the one thing that I wish I knew when I was diagnosed with Crohn's was that Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'll be talking to you about what you can do to get the most out of your time at university while living with inflammatory bowel disease. Just like with most of my videos, even though I focus on Crohn's disease, which I've had for about 12 years now, a lot of these tips and tricks I share is actually relatable to other conditions as well, and not just IBD. Before we get into things, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, check out my Instagram, Facebook and Twitter pages where I have lots more information, and you can find a link to those pages in the description below. Right, so I was diagnosed with Crohn's officially in 2007, so I was just going through my A-levels at the time and applying for university. Even though this video is primarily focused on university, if you're still in school or in college, then these tips still can apply to you, as most schools and colleges do offer similar types of support. Now, full disclaimer here, I have been to 3 universities and I have never used these suggestions I'm about to tell you because I did not know about them, and I spent most of my years living with Crohn's hiding about it and not telling many people that I had it. Looking back, if I knew about the support that was available to me, my experience at university could have been a lot less stressful and a lot better. My first suggestion is to let your personal tutor know. I remember my first day at my first uni, I had a meet and greet with my personal tutor. And so if you have something like this, that on your first day, or even if you're already started, I'd suggest using this meeting or organising a meeting to make your tutor aware of your condition. I know you may be thinking of why would you tell them, but they can be a great place to direct you to services that can actually help you. Also, this is my first suggestion because really all my other suggestions lead on from this. It took me a while to accept this, but if you have IBD, then you do have a disability, even though you can't physically see it, and in doing so you are actually eligible to use disability services. It's likely that your tutor will also be giving you lectures and be involved in one way or another with your learning, and they can really help you along the way. They can direct you to where the disability services are located, which can offer you so much more guidance and advice. Sometimes it may be worth contacting these services when you get your confirmation that you'll be going to that university, as they may be able to help you in securing accommodation with your own bathroom. I know a lot of the newer accommodations at universities will have their own bathrooms, but some of the older buildings may still have shared facilities. So this actually reminds me of when I was applying for universities. I went on these 2 courses called MedSim and MedLink, and they simulate what it's like being a medical student, and they offer you sort of experiences of what a qualified doctor will do. And these courses were brilliant. I found them so useful and very insightful. For these courses, they were actually at a university, and I stayed in their accommodation, and they weren't en suite at the time, and the let's say cleanliness wasn't the best, because it was up to you to sort of clean it. And even though we were only there for a week sharing with 3 or 4 other people, the dirt does accumulate, and having IBD, I prefer my bathrooms and toilets nice and clean. So aside from that, it was quite stressful in managing my sort of toilet schedule. I sound like Sheldon from The Big Bang, but bathroom schedule, trying to make it not coincide with everyone else's, and it was very stressful trying to predict when someone would be going in, or trying to wake up early enough so I could be the first one in and make sure that I wasn't going to be caught up short during the day. So having your own toilet facilities in your room at university can be very helpful, and disability services may be able to direct you and maybe even support you in applying for those en-suite accommodations. Disability services may also be able to help you financially, as you may be entitled to some form of allowance. Most people, when they go to uni, take up some sort of part-time job to be able to even afford to live in rented accommodation, or if they've not been able to get enough money from their maintenance line. Bottom line is, uni can be expensive, and if you have a chronic illness that may make it difficult for you to afford going to uni, then disability services can best advise you on this. My next point is the medical services at your university. Now, at each of my unis, I never registered with the university GP, even when I was living away during my masters, and the reason being is that I was happy with the way things were working for me. Everything was in one place and with people who knew my medical history, and if I was even running low on medication, I just reorder it and go back home for the weekend and collect it. But I would certainly suggest at least checking in with the university GPs and making them aware of your IBD, as you never know when you're going to flare or when you need to even see them. So it's always best to play on the safe side. So let's talk about the main obvious thing that you're going to be doing at university on a regular basis. And it's not what you're thinking, it's obviously going to lectures. Being in my first ever lecture as a uni student was an experience because I was still in the sort of being at school mentality where I felt I needed to raise my hand and ask if I could go to the loo. So most of the time I'd actually wait for the mid-lecture break to head off to the toilet, and as time went on I did start to feel more comfortable to kind of just get up mid-lecture and go off. But I would always sit somewhere near the aisle or near the exit of the lecture hall so I wouldn't draw attention to myself. I'd also, this was really bad, I would limit myself to the amount of times I would get up and leave, as I really didn't want to not only disturb anyone but get asked awkward questions of why I kept coming and going. So this really does feed back to my first ever point of letting your lecturer or your personal tutor know. Because most likely they will be the one teaching you, and if they know about your condition, making them aware that you may need to actually excuse yourself multiple times can help give them a reason as to why you're always getting up and going, and not just that you find the lecture boring. Also, by letting them know can help explain as to why you may be late or may miss some lectures or be absent for long periods. Believe it or not, even though you may think a lecturer may not know you, they do, and they do notice when you may not be there, especially if your class size is really small. So if you haven't told them about your condition and you don't turn up or miss a lot of lectures and sessions, then this could give you a bad rep in being classified as someone that's just disinterested or lazy and not bothered about the course, when in reality you are and have a valid reason, but you've just not told them. Telling your tutors about your condition can come in handy when it comes to assignments as well, because a lot of conditions are triggered by stress, and working to deadlines, especially if you've left it last minute, can be very stressful. So making your lecturer aware that you have a condition, have missed sessions due to sickness, they may be able to give you extension deadlines, or when it comes to exams, you could apply for extenuating circumstances if your condition does disrupt your revision. Now, I'm not saying you'll automatically be awarded this, because it's all done on an individual basis and each university has their own policy and guidelines which they follow, and you may or may not be required to provide evidence from your doctors to say that your condition did flare up in the middle of exam, but it's always worth, as I said at the beginning, to let your tutor know who can best advise you on this. Staying in the theme of exams, the one thing that I wish I knew when I was diagnosed with Crohn's was that I may have been eligible for extra time. I haven't looked this up, but I've heard some people with Crohn's and colitis have been awarded it, and the extra time would have been so handy, as exams are stressful, especially when you add the pressure of your whole future being determined by them. Stress can cause your symptoms to occur mid-exam, and that was certainly the case for me, and I lost so much time by going up to the toilet in the middle of exams constantly, but also needing to go to the toilet constantly during an exam is embarrassing, and because I always at the front of the exam hall, it was such a long walk past everyone who would always give me the look of, what is it now? So for me, if I made my teachers aware of my Crohn's and arranged to be sat near the toilets at the back of the exam hall, may have actually made me less stressed and probably saved me a bit of the time for not having to walk so far. So that brings me to the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have done anything differently while at university or even at school, or if you have any other tips you want to share, then please do leave them in the comment section below. And if you do enjoy these types of videos, then please remember to subscribe, like and share. And if you want more tips and tricks on living with IBD, make sure you check out my social media pages. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next video.